I thought about CPA. It was a course that has synergies even now with chartered accountancy here. And the good part is that we can study for it here and just go there for exams. I stumbled upon this concept of intrapreneurship, which is running a new segment or doing something new in your organization. There's no gender to chartered accountancy or to entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
2 women were sent in a place where it is 20 feet dug underground, with, of course, there are only male workers there, and there are temporary sort of huts that are built, and we are climbing onto cement bags to count the number of bags and tally it with the inventory sheet. Who better than a chartered accountant to start a business? To start sustainable long-term businesses, we have to work towards looking for a solution so that nobody else has to experience this.
So it was a conscious choice, of course, to move from there to here. One thing always people want to know is how much money are you making? So are you able to make enough money comparable to your friends in the industry or Big Four practicing, or do you still see that there is still a few years, but you will get there?
So, an outcome of entrepreneurship is not just monetary.
Absolutely.
But if I talk about monetary terms, initially, of course not.
Correct.
There was no comparison in what my peers would make versus what I would look at. But the idea was for us to build a sustainable business, and now that gap is not that long. But the satisfaction that an entrepreneurial journey gives you, I think it's unmatched. I don't think you can put a number to it. But if you build it sustainably, you grow it sustainably, the gap is not that wide.
And give it a few years.
Yes.
Don't expect that
Of
overnight
course,
you will become successful
yes.
in what you're doing.
Yes.
So now you're talking about entrepreneurship, the fact that tax and audit regulations are increasing a lot. A lot of CAs today opt for unconventional fields for that. Where else do you think is the scope for chartered accountants to contribute in a fashion like this?
Sure. So, firstly, I feel that chartered accountancy gives you an opportunity to integrate into any business, because chartered accountancy teaches you business. It teaches you financial management, it teaches you cost accounting. So whether it's manufacturing, whether it is a service oriented industry, whether it is a SaaS play, whether it is anything, a chartered accountant can actually grasp how the business can work and how it can be sustainably grown. But as a chartered accountant, one of the things also, as opportunity is the entire aspect of audit and tax itself.
Correct.
It's still so manual.
Yes.
For example, right now, one of the automations that are common are, let's say, verification from all your outstanding, outstanding customer list and your
Correct.
bank account balance verification.
True.
But the other process of audit, today Tally exists for accounting.
Correct.
But is there some software like that for chartered accountancy firms to manage their audits? Maybe not. So there is innovation in that also. You look at, let's say, fields of law. There is so much automation in reg tech and compliance tech, but it's still a space left to be explored. Even when it comes to tax filings, there's clear tax, which is one.
Correct.
But there's so much more opportunity to look at all these complexities. Look at now how actually LLMs or certain aspects of artificial intelligence can help chartered accountants. A chat GPT for financial knowledge. Things like that. There are so many opportunities for chartered accountants to also move towards an entrepreneurial approach.
Journey for themselves.
Yes.
And of course, now with the industry opening up and the knowledge that we have, we can contribute in various segments. Already there are contributions happening, but you can also start off something and solve problems which are existing out there. So in your journey as a startup entrepreneur, there are a lot of awards and all that you receive as well. And a lot of claims happen that you can also buy awards. Have you had initially bought any awards?
So in fact, I was very surprised when I realized that you can buy awards, in fact some of the most prestigious ones also, but that's a policy. We don't pay for awards at all.
So tell us
Never
about
have
some awards
and
that you have
we
received
won't.
in your journey as a woman and as your organization.
Sure. So for as a woman, I think one of the highlights was to receive the award that you mentioned, which was the top 60 women transforming India.
Correct.
This is an initiative by the government of India, and it was humbling to be amongst other women who've achieved beyond excellence and done so much for India as well. That was one. Few of the other awards is there is an award by Business Standard when it comes to fintech and regtech. So we've got an award from there. We've got an award from the Maharashtra government also. And the recent one was we got an award in Asia for the best legal tech entrant top 3 in Asia for legal tech initiatives. So that was something that was good as well, because now we know that the ODR story is emerging from India, just like how the UPI story has emerged.
there.
So that was a recognition of that.
So all these awards jo aate hain, how do you know that these awards that you have to apply for it, or do organizations come and choose you, reach out to you?
Sure. So we apply for it, and we apply for many in the year, because for us this is a form of recognition and building credibility for the enterprises and for the users that we want to work with.
Okay.
We also work with certain courts, we also work with certain agencies. So all of this builds credibility. So for us to prove that externally is validating for them. It's not an award for our own self as much as it is for a vote of confidence from a third party, so that others be more accepting and aware of the concept of ODR. But we apply for them. So there are, all the information is available by all the prominent award sources, and you apply for them, and most of them have multiple rounds. They have at least 4 to 5 rounds.
And does this help in PR in somewhere in terms of getting new clients, or maybe having investor interest?
Sure, it in a way does, because that is a form of third party validation.
Correct.
So that is where it helps. What it also helps is that you can build a narrative for ODR, because today ODR is not a very popular term.
True.
Most people are probably hearing it for the first time.
Absolutely.
So yes, so whenever we pitch what we are doing, it's also the first time for those who are listening on the jury. Some of them of course are very well aware of it, but for many of them it's the first time that they are also listening about it. So if we have one believer, they can open up doors for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
So have you seen some kind of spike happening in your website views or customers acquisition very close to around you receiving an award?
Not so much, but it definitely just enhances confidence. Yeah.
If you had an option to go back to a Big Four or to regular CA, would you do that today?
I would choose entrepreneurship.
You'll choose entrepreneurship again.
Yes.
Now you've done your CA, you've done your CPA, you've done your LLB, multiple courses, finance, law and all of that. A lot of students today are also confused at times. Some are confused कि क्या करना है, कुछ पता नहीं है तो सब कर लेते हैं. Some are very focused. There is a purpose and intent behind doing every course. For example, a course like CPA and ACC are still building their presence in India.
Yes.
While they're known internationally, India still does not have so much wide acceptance to it. Law, of course, becomes a good counterpart in litigation along with chartered accountancy. What is your thought process for these students? How do they clear their mind when they sign up for a course?
Sure. So I think one of the things that I also felt I could have done better, and what I think is an opportunity for everybody who is on that journey right now, is to actually seek mentors. And believe it or not, some of the mentors that we've also got in Presolv have been via absolutely reaching out in a form of cold calling on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And there may be most who won't reply, but there will be few who will reply, and when they do, you know that you will get genuine guidance from them. So if somebody is confused, and I wish I had also done that better in terms of reaching out to folks who are already doing what you are considering doing, to understand what it means. For example, I knew I would become a chartered accountant, didn't know what CA meant.
Okay.
Sometimes you think something means this, but it turns out that when you actually go there, it means totally different. And also, taking that real life experience of being in that particular company or firm. For example, for some, social media may sound very engaging, but when they actually go to a social media firm and realize the hard work, grunt work that goes behind it, you may completely change your thought process on what that is. So it is important to do that homework. There's no excuse for doing your own homework. And that homework also means reaching out to people, also means reaching out to organizations and taking those experiences to the best
alumni
possible
से बात
extent.
कर लो किसी और
Exactly.
connected person. I remember, I know in 11th and 12th I took up commerce because science नहीं करना था. And chartered accountancy sound fascinating. I was good at accounts. I thought accounting में master करने से chartered accountant बनना है.
Yeah.
So that's how I signed up for CA. That's how I got signed up for CA, and then the first foundation had the usual maths, economics,
Yes.
law. तो ये तो मैंने करा हुआ था स्कूल में 12th में. So I thought it was the same thing. It's only when the inter CA books came to me and I'm like, okay, this is not just accountancy. There is a lot more to it.
Yes.
Sometimes you just jump into it and then
Correct.
figure out कि क्या कर रहे हो. And sometimes it's always better to do your homework like you mentioned and
Absolutely.
before you jump into where you are. So, but are these courses adding extra validation to your credibility?
I think they just open doors in a way for an interview versus somebody who has only one degree and you have an added degree. But I still think at the end of it, for any course, it's how much you learn from it. A degree is probably, good for for the first round to just get in, but ultimately it's your knowledge, and somebody may not have an official degree. I have seen that in my own experience, and even in my company, we have people who did not, who did not finish the CA journey, but know far more than most of the CAs that I've spoken to. So ultimately, that knowledge that you get from it, or what you become in the process of getting that degree, is what defines somebody. But then it does help in a way that if there are two CVs and one has an added degree, probably the preference for the first round only is where somebody may be given, because ultimately it's a paper, unfortunately that
वो दिख जाता है.
yeah.
And उस CA के सामने अगर rank लिखा हो, is that an added advantage?
In a way, yes. But then again, it's ultimately how you are able to apply that knowledge, because writing an exam and doing something in real life are two very, very different things. And I don't see a rank or a degree equalizing to the knowledge that somebody carries.
True.
Maybe sometimes you've just had a good day, you've had a stroke of luck, you've just had a bad day, you've had a stroke of bad luck.
Correct.
It's not defining, so to say.
Yeah.
But in a way, it
helps you out.
It's a conversation starter, probably.
Correct. Thank you so much, Namita. Before we wrap up this episode today, a few rapid fire questions for you. You have less than 5 seconds to answer these questions.
Okay.
Alright. If you had a chance to restart your career, will you do something differently?
Yes, I would have started Presolv sooner.
Okay, interesting. Will you appear for your CA exams again?
Right now, no chance.
Alright. One subject you absolutely hated.
Iska.
We are on the same boat on this. Thank you so much.
I just
Finally someone said that.
I did not attend classes. I did not work on it. I just hoped and prayed, and the lowest marks also I got in Iska.
So yeah, I remember exams padhai karte waqt, the only subject, like I can study in a home. I don't study in a library. घर पे पूरा टाइम पढ़ सकता था. इसका पढ़ने के लिए I'll take the book and go in my society around and read it so that I don't go fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I know once on the first day, नीचे chair रखी थी, मैं वहाँ पे सो गया था, security वाले ने उठाया था मेरे को. That how my ISKA experience has been.
My ISKA experiences, when I reached on the third page, I forgot what the first page spoke about at all. But yeah.
Absolutely. Alright. One book that you recommend everyone to read?
The lean startup model, because I think this is applicable across life. I mean, just being agile in your thought process, learning more information and learning to change your decisions based on new information, and experimenting before going all the way, I think is key.
Alright. One thing that the CA course does not give us?
The college experience.
Okay. And one thing that the CA course helps us stand apart from others?
Oh, it makes you into a professional. It refines you. The grind makes you become more disciplined and consistent. And I think that's some of the most important qualities across life.
One wish and aspiration for Presolv 360?
To resolve more disputes, and the headline of tomorrow to not read that there are so many crore cases pending, and that India is actually now one of the most efficient countries in dispute resolution.
Any message for females pursuing CA or female chartered accountants?
It's a great time to be a female pursuing chartered accountancy. It's a great time to be a female entrepreneur. There are so many more opportunities. There are so many groups. There are so many mentorship programs. Please make use of those. Explore more, and don't think you're a female chartered accountant. You're just a chartered accountant.
That's a very fabulous message to end this episode with. Thank you, Namita, for sharing your thoughts, sharing your entrepreneurship journey with us, and telling us that, you're a chartered accountant. It doesn't matter from which city, which state, what gender, what experience that you have. Thank you for sharing all of your experiences, Namita. Thank you for being a part of Beyond the Degree.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
so much.
It struck to me that I was the biggest obstacle in my own career path. It was actually the fear of public speaking or being judged. The imposter syndrome is quite true. And sometimes when we look in the mirror, we don't see a person who's ready to take on leadership. Women in general, or I shouldn't generalize, but I think we are ready to step up only when we feel we are 100% ready. And leadership doesn't have that luxury. If we are ready-ish, 40-50%, we should just take that brave step. Quote from our first woman international president of Toastmasters, Helen Blanchard. If you can get out of Toastmasters what you want to get out of Toastmasters, you're never going to be 100% ready. It's never going to be the right time when you have everything in balance, you know. If you feel that you've got 40% of the skills, 40% of something, just step into it. You don't have to be ready, you don't have to be perfect. All you have to be is willing